watch this video before writing the creative brief for your next project. If you've prepared a brief that was painfully ignored and thrown into a dark corner by the creative team, this is perfect for you. You probably feel like a fraud. I've been there. That's why in this video, I'm sharing my own learnings as to how I went from being ignored and was able to write briefs that the creative teams were looking forward to. Learn who writes a creative brief, can you do it, and what frameworks can you use to write a great creative brief. I've got a simple formula that I'm going to share with you too. A great creative brief gives confidence for a compelling campaign. It gives the creatives a springboard for ideas that will work for their target audience. We'll dive into the mind of the person writing them in under 5 minutes, with examples from the classic Snickers, You're Not You When You're Hungry campaign. I was lucky enough to work at BBDO, the agency that came up with the Snickers strategy, so I've had a look behind the curtain on how this iconic work was made. Snickers has had a long line of brilliant and iconic ads when we look at the past decade. They first launched You're Not You When You're Hungry platform in 2010 with the classic Betty White spot during the 44th Super Bowl. Ever since, their advertisements have always revolved around the idea you're unfiltered when you're hungry, you're impatient when you're hungry, you're careless when you're hungry, and a Snickers bar is a solution to make people themselves again. When a marketer gives an agency a brief, more often than not, it's written from the business perspective and is very biased. How do we increase awareness of the brand? How can we beat our competitors? Everything that the internal stakeholders would care about would be in the marketing brief. But in reality, your target consumer, who are the audience of advertising, don't care about any of that. This is why we need to make a document that translates this into the consumer's perspective, the creative brief. Snickers' marketing brief would look something like this. Business problem. Snickers is fighting a losing battle in the chocolate bar category dominated by taste. Business goal. Increase sales by 2% in the chocolate bar category. Target consumer. Young adults who are using a lot of energy and have little time for preparing meals. Single-minded proposition. Show that Snickers is the most satisfying chocolate bar. Deliverables. A 30-second spot. Once the agency's been briefed by the client, strategists are then given the job of writing the creative brief. But anyone can write it as long as they know what they're doing. That could also be the project manager or account executive. They should get input from everyone, especially the client, to understand and gain more information about their target consumer. We really want to get into the consumer's mindset here, so ask about past reports, research, and other consumer insights that the clients can share with you. The creative director should be involved too, as they need to be brought along on the journey for how you translated the business problem into the perspective of the consumer. They also may have hunches or hypotheses that they will want you to research into as well. The person who writes it also needs to understand the pieces that make up an effective creative brief. Let's break this down using the most popular creative brief format, the Get Who To Buy brief template. Fill in the get statement with your target consumer. Then the who statement should state the consumer problem that the business can help overcome. The to statement is where we'll put the desired response from the consumer to convince them to use our product. And lastly, the buy statement is our single-minded proposition. It is the one message or action you can say or do to get to the desired response from the consumer. In this case, for the Snickers example, the You're Not You When You're Hungry's campaign's creative brief would be something along these lines. Get guys who are acting out when they're hungry to see Snickers as the most satisfying bar to cure for hangry moments by showing that you transform into another person when you're hungry. The insight is rooted in the product, as Snickers is the most satisfying bar with the most nuts in it of the chocolate bars in the category. This is just a small sneak peek into creative briefing. I explain this in greater detail in the briefing module of the Strategy Finishing School. If you're interested in learning how to become a strategist in advertising and learn more strategy disciplines like brand strategy, insights, and comms planning, check out my free upcoming workshop at the Strategy Finishing School. Links will be in the description below.